Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dina, and this is my channel about cross stitch. And this date today is October the 2nd. It's a Sunday evening, and I wanted to come by and talk to you about my stitching today. Well, I've started back on prompts. I love to stitch for prompts. It helps me decide what to stitch on. I get a little bit lost if I don't have a plan that tells me what I need to stitch on a regular basis. So I just pulled together all of my prompts that I would be stitching for this month, and I looked at the dates of when they're due, and I had 2 prompts left in a challenge that I have to have ready by October the 7th. So I decided to tackle one of those today. I didn't have a lot of stitching time today, not as much as I would have liked, but I had a lot of activities I had to do today. So I thought, well, this one will be good because I can stitch on this while I'm talking. And I was actually able to participate in a Zoom stitching session today, and I don't get to do that very often. So I picked up my Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio. I had stitched this top corner down to the hat. That little corner I had done. So I decided to go on down today and do this motif. I needed a minimum of 300 stitches, a maximum required of 400 for the highest points. So I decided I would just stitch that motif and see how much it got me. I am thrilled to report that it actually afforded me 612 stitches, which was more than I had to have, so that was awesome. But here it is. I think that's beautiful, and I think the colors are showing very well on this fabric. This is 3371, so it's that dark black brown color, and I think it just looks great in that motif. This is a blend of black and gray, and so it's just a slightly different color when you look at it to the naked eye. I'm not sure you can tell a lot of difference, but I can looking at it. And most of this is dark anyway. It's all grays and blacks and pops of orange. So I'm loving this. This fabric is a coloring cotton hand-dyed fabric. It is a 32 count Lugana, and the name of it is Field Stone. Field Stone. I really like it. It's not as mottled and variegated looking as the one on the actual model, but it does have some light modeling to it, so it is pretty. I think it'll look well with this piece. So that met the prompt I was going for, and it also, because I stitched for that prompt, I believe I have this in at least one of my acrostics too, so I'll go check on that now. I'll take a picture of it, I'll post it, and I'll put it in the Facebook groups so that I can get credit for it. Happy stitching, everybody. Good night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dina, and this is my channel about cross stitch. And today is October the 3rd. I am going to be sharing with you what I was able to stitch on today. It's been a crazy busy day, but one of the things I wanted to accomplish today was to stitch at least 300 stitches on my winter Quaker for my first animal adventure of the month. I knew I wasn't going to have a lot of stitching time today, but I wanted to use that project to try to get at least one prompt. And I'm very happy to report that I did. I got 319 stitches, so I got my 300 in, and I've been able to check off my first one of 8 animal adventures today. So I'll remind you, this is what the winter Quaker looks like. And I had started this motif the last time I was working on it, and I had one section, this star and one side stitched on it last time you saw it. So now this is where it is tonight. So I was able to stitch the second star here, and I was zooming tonight with a couple of stitching friends, and I polled one of them, Julie McConnell, and I said, would you go ahead and do the whole outer border? Would you go inside and do this? And she said she would go inside and at least do this top triangle, so she would have something to count off of to make sure this side was okay and on around. So I decided to do the top triangle and the side at least to where the star butts up against it. So now I can check that whole side and make sure everything's kosher there. And then I can go on down here and do those two sections and come down. And then I can go over here and fill the rest of this in and come up and then do the star in the middle. So I appreciated that, Julie. Thank you for the idea, because that way I can make sure I'm doing everything in relation to each other the way it should be. Now, I have purposely not started working on the stars around here because those are single strands of back stitching and it takes so much more. You have to count 2 for 1 in those, and when I'm trying to stitch 300 stitches, I don't want to do that. But the sad part is I need to come on over here and get some of that stitching done so I can roll everything on up. So I may have to do that next time, even if I'm working on my animal adventures. I may still need to do that. So that is my stitching for the day, but I wanted to share something with you from my recent trip. This is my souvenir, but it'll also be something I can use at Christmas. There's an artist in that area in North Carolina. I don't know her first name. Teresa. I do know her first name. Is on her card. And she owns a T. Pennington Art Gallery, Inc. T. Pennington is listed as one word, but the T and the P are capital, both of them. And she does absolutely beautiful artwork. This is a card, a Christmas card printed from one of her pictures that she painted. She paints these winter Christmassy scenes and winter scenes from around Waynesville, where she's in. Her gallery's in Waynesville, North Carolina. And she makes puzzles and she makes these gift cards. And this was what I wanted for my souvenir. But I thought that was just so beautiful, and I couldn't help but think about how pretty a cross stitch that would make. But I'm not doing that. I'm actually going to use it as a Christmas card. But I had forgotten to share with you my souvenir, and I wanted to do that. That's it for tonight. I will see you hopefully tomorrow and share with you what bit of stitching that I can get done and go from there. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Dina. It is Thursday, October the 6th, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about my cross stitch today. I have been working on a prompt today to stitch on a whip that has a border, and I picked the perfect one, I think. This is called Autumn in the Country, and look at that border. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness. When I picked this up, I had done this outer border about halfway around because I'm doing what will fit in my space that's displayed in my roller frame. Then I had gone back in and done a little bit of this first orange row here. There's an orange, brown, and another orange row. So there's 3 stitches in this little thing that goes around here. So what I did today is I completed the orange row all the way down to about as far as I wanted to go on my Q-snap. Not Q-snap, my roller frame. And then I went back and I started the second color, and I started it right down here, even with that, and I came all the way around to here. Now I only needed 200 stitches, but today I stitched 445 stitches. It was just wonderfully pleasant to work on. And I was on a Zoom call with two of my stitching friends, Mary and Joanne, and I was just stitching away, 90 to nothing. I wasn't counting or anything till I got off the phone. So there you have it. I did that today, so that more than meets my prompt. I'm also using Autumn in the Country for one of my acrostics. So because those are any number you want, that 445 will be more than enough, for that as well. But loving it on this beautiful fabric called Autumn, and I am enjoying this stitch a lot. So that's the stitching for today. I am about to head off to church with my hubby. We have a business planning meeting for our Sunday school class at church. We're having a big chili dinner, and we're going to talk about what we want to do in the coming year, socials and service work and that sort of thing. And that chili has been smelling good all afternoon in that crock pot. So I can't wait to go to the dinner tonight and do the planning session. So I will show you the bag I have this project in, because I think it's so perfect for Autumn in the Country. It's got some beautiful autumn colors in it. And I love paisleys. So I made this one. It's the Vanna Pfeiffer tutorial bag. So there you have it. That's my stitching for today, and a little bit about my life update for the day. And tomorrow, I hope to be stitching possibly on Autumn in the Village for another prompt, which is to stitch on a whip that is an extreme whip for me. And Autumn in the Village is on 36 count, and that's extreme for me. So that's what I'm hoping to do tomorrow. I just thought I'd give you a heads up on that. I hope you're having a great day of stitching, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday. It is October the 7th, and I'm here to give you an update this morning on my stitching for my prompt. The prompt today was to stitch on something that was extreme for me, and in my case, I considered that my 36 count piece, the Autumn in the Village. This is the piece that I'm working on, and I've started on this house right here in the middle, and I had stitched to about right here from the top down. So today I picked it up and I started working on that blue section that has a bakery on it. The little wording there, in case you can't read it, is bakery. And I did all of that and this, and that was 217 stitches. My prompt I needed was just 200. I'll pull back so you can see. This fabric is one of those that's printed just on one side, and I love it. And it's actually called Autumn, from that company as well. I have two that are called Autumn, but they're from different dyers. So that is my progress so far this morning. I completed that prompt in that group. And now, because it's Friday, I have a whole nother prompt to go read, another little story to read and see what 5 prompts they want me to go for. But I have 2 left in this grouping. One is to stitch on my oldest or biggest whip, and I think I'm going to choose Pandemic for that, for the biggest. And then the last one I mentioned before, I think I have to stitch on a project that I call something different than its real name. And my plan right now is to do that with Animal. Well, I started to call it Animal Stack. It's actually Welcoming Christmas, but it's the 3 animals stacked on top of each other. And I want to work on that one for that. So if I am lucky enough today, since I only have to get 200 stitches for each, I may discipline myself a little bit and only do about 200 stitches and knock out both of those 2 prompts. That'll be hard to do when I pull out Pandemic, because I really like to cut a length of thread that goes the entire color span and third it, and then I like to stitch until all those threads are gone in all 3 sections. May or may not get to stitch that much on it today if I want to get 2 prompts in today. But I'll come back, as you know, and I'll share with you what I get done. It's a beautiful day today. It's bright and sunny outside, and it's actually going to be about 81 degrees today. But right now, it's cool. It's been cooled overnight, and I'm in my stitching room, which is usually warm. But last night I forgot and left my ceiling fan on, and it has circulated all that cool air that got stuck up here. And it's kind of nippy up here, so I have on a little bit of a jacket over my short sleeve shirt for the rest of the day, which isn't bad, because if I get to go have dinner with my husband tonight, which I'm hoping we get to do, he's on his long run today, I might need the jacket in the restaurant, because you know they put their air conditioners on and they have it freezing in there. So we'll see. I hope you're having a great Friday and that you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. I know I am looking forward to meeting with my friends at the library on Saturday. So you know I'll have a good time. Anyway, happy stitching, everyone. Hello again. It's just later in the day on Friday, the 7th of October, and I have finished stitching for another prompt in one of my Facebook groups. And this prompt, I actually skipped pandemic, the prompt I'm going to use pandemic for, and went ahead and stitched this one so that when I start on pandemic, if I want to keep going for the rest of the evening of my stitching time, I can. So today I went ahead and did the last prompt in this series, which is to stitch on something that is called, I call a different name than what is actually the correct name. This came out of a magazine, For the Love of Cross Stitch, and it's the January 1996 issue. I've had it that long. I actually love that picture on the front too. I may be saving it for that later. But this is what I'm stitching. This is way back when we used to stitch on sweatshirts and sweaters and things like that. But I just loved this animal stack, and I wanted to do it for Christmas. So as you know, I started it in my Christmas in July stitching. It was one of my 22 new starts. And when I pulled it out today, I had finished the little rabbit on the top, complete with back stitching, and I had stitched a little bit of this beige and white of the little sheep's back. So I started today back on that little sheep's back, and I had done this right up under this first animal originally. So I came in here with another color, and I filled in that color all the way down even to where I had gotten with the first color. Went all the way down around the neck. This is going to be his ear, the sheep's ear and face. So rather than continue working on down on this off-white and white the whole time, I wanted to be able to see something that I had stitched really well. So now that I have the top of the head done, I was able to do the Christmas tree that stands on top of that little animal's head. And that Christmas tree is completed other than the back stitching of the star and the little stand, which I'll start out probably doing next time. But I got 307 stitches in here, and I didn't need but 200. I just wanted to finish the tree, and that's what I did. I did the cross stitching on the tree. So I am very, very pleased with this. It'll be ready to do the face and all on the little sheep next time when I work on it. So there you go. Enjoyed that. So glad I could use it for a prompt. So now I will take a little breather and maybe see if my little puppy needs to go anywhere. And then I will get started on pandemic. And I don't know whether I'll show it to you today or tomorrow. It depends on how long I stitch on it. But I hope you're having a good day. and I hope you have a great weekend. And until we speak again, happy stitching. Hi everyone, welcome. This is Gina. It is October the 8th and it is a Saturday, and I'm here to give you a report about our stitching meetup today and my stitching. We were a little low in numbers today. There, of course, was a ball game on in the local area. Auburn, University of Auburn and the University of Georgia were playing each other. I think they may still be playing. I'm not sure if the fourth quarter's over yet. Anyway, so our numbers today were a little bit less. There were 12 of us there, but we did have a good time. And we had a new visitor today. She's normally attends a different stitching meetup closer to her home the first Saturday of the month, but she wasn't able to go this past Saturday. So she looked online and found ours and came to it. So we are glad to know that, she considered us available to her. I'm really tickled that she came, and I hope that she will come back again. Maybe even if it's just because she can't go to the one she normally goes to that's closer to her home. But glad that she decided to come on anyway so she could stitch with the group. While we were there, the librarian that we booked this through and that helps us so much with the room setup and everything else, came in to talk with us a little bit. And I love it when she works on the Saturday we're there, which is not that often. But when it happens, she comes in and oohs and ahs and she's so enamored with what we do. She doesn't know how to do it herself, but she totally respects it. And I think that's always rewarding, But she just wanted to clarify some facts about our group that she could put in her advertisement for the library. She wanted to know how young we would accept people to come. And I told her that we basically already have a 10-year-old that comes with her grandmother sometimes, so we have to go at least to 10. She has to be allowed to come in, But it was a great day and beautiful weather. Several of us walked up to the square and had lunch, took a quick lunch just to get out and get a walk in this beautiful sunshine with the cool breeze. It was lovely. So while I was at my stitching meetup today, I decided to work for a prompt, and I worked on it the whole time I was there, and when I came home I finished it up real quick. But the prompt was to stitch at least 200 stitches or 300 stitches, I think it was, in black or gray thread. And so I pulled out my Halloween Quaker, and this is the motif that I worked on, and that blend of floss is $37.99, and then a beautiful purple blue. So to your eyes, it will probably look a little more blue than it does gray, but it does have $37.99 in it, which is a dark gray, and that blend turned out really pretty. And I don't know if you can see it, but very close up, you can see that dark gray kind of showing up in that blend, especially down on that pot, it looks like. But anyway, I was able to do it, and I was able to put in over 300 stitches in here, about 327, I think it was. But I finished my motif, and I'm tickled to death to have another motif done on my Halloween Quaker. And yes, in case you're noticing, it is one stitch on the inside. It is one stitch too far this way, and guess what? It's gonna stay that way. I didn't discover it till I got home, and I was stitching down here, right in here, and then I noticed it. And I thought, well, I'm not frocking that whole thing out. That would be my entire day's worth of stitching, and I'm just not. It's just gonna be there. So you don't have to tell me. I already know it. I'm just gonna let it be there. That will be my error in the piece, and I hope it's the only one, but doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So that was my stitching today at my stitching meetup. Now, this morning before I left, because the library doesn't open till 10, so I get a little stitching time before I go. and I didn't want to have to stitch on something and then put it back in my bag and then take it. I had loaded the car already. So I decided to stitch for a different prompt. And what I stitched on was pandemic. I looked at my other prompts, and I did have one of my acrostics. I had used pandemic in for one of the letters. So I just went ahead this morning and stitched a little more on it, so that I could just total it all together. And I wound up getting, I think, 554 stitches or something all total, because I did another 227 this morning. And so added together, that's what I got. So I want to show you what I did, because I'm really happy with the progress. I came over here, and I think I showed you that I did all of this yesterday. I finished this all the way to the page break at the bottom. I came over here and brought this out and got the spiders. Look at those cute little spiders hanging down from those little spider lines, spider webs. And then this morning when I came in, I wanted something easy to do real quick, just while I waited for time to go. And I came over here to this end, which is the border, and I just came down this way for the 227 stitches. I just ran my thread out. So there you have it. I worked on this section and this section in the last 2 days. So now I'm ready to put this away, probably for the month, and get some more work done, possibly on other prompts. You know, my husband and I are going out to eat lunch with our son tomorrow. That seems to be a good way for us to get together and see each other. And so I'm looking forward to that. Don't know if I'll get to stitch tomorrow or not. I hope so, but we'll wait and see. Hope you've had a great Saturday. I know I have, and I'm looking forward to stitching again tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday night, October the 9th, and I have had a very full and wonderful day today. My husband and I went to church this morning, and then went and had lunch with our son, and did a little bit of an errand on the way home. We stopped by Costco, and our whole purpose to go there was to get a little pair of boots for me to wear when we go to New York City for my husband's marathon, because it could be cold up there, and these look like they would be comfortable walking shoes. And so that little trip to pick up that pair of boots became a much bigger shopping trip, because we found some Christmas presents for our neighbors, and we also found a combination air fryer oven, I guess, that can do confection and all kinds of stuff. It just does everything. But I've been wanting an air fryer, wanted to try it, and so this gives me the best of both worlds. And it will also help out in the summertime for me not to have to heat up the big ovens in my kitchen, to just heat up something, you know, cook something real quick. So we got that today, and tonight I tried it. I made individual little pizzas for my husband and I on flat outs. The bread is called flat out, and they were delicious. We had a good time, and the oven worked beautifully. So that was a lot of fun. Now I got to stitching probably around, I don't know, 7:30 or so today, and I wanted to work on a prompt, just one prompt. So in one of my Facebook groups, I had a prompt to stitch either 200 or 300 stitches, depending on how many points you wanted, on a whip with a body of water. So I grabbed my 13th colony by the Bay, and I know that this would qualify with the body of water here, and I'm working on this side over here. So let me show you what I got done tonight, because I'm very pleased with it. I worked on this side, and what I was able to do was the white picket fence, the last of those little sheep, the house, and those 3 trees. I'm so delighted to get that done. The next thing I have to work on now will actually be the water right here. Loving it. Now, tomorrow, I may continue working on this, so you may get to see it again, because the prompt is for to stitch on a whip that has a type of human transportation. And that sailboat right there would qualify for that. So I very well may use it again for tomorrow. We shall see. Anyway, the other prompt I have is to stitch on a whip with a house. And this has that too. So I could actually work on that for the rest of the prompts for that for that challenge. And who knows, that would really get me some good progress on that one. So I very well may do that. Anyway, that's the big stitching for the day. It was a busy day. I didn't have a whole lot of time, but I was glad to get some stitching time in, just to relax. Coco had a great day. I texted Loki's mom and asked if he could come out and play. She said yes. And so we took Coco up and let her play with Loki for a little bit, but she ran really hard and got tired and just headed up the street. She was headed back home. My husband said, well, she was rude today. It was cooler and she ran hard. And then I think she just had enough. She was ready to come home. So she had a good day. I am going to call it a day and go join my little puppy. And my husband, I can hear, is getting ready for bed. So I'll be able to catch some sleep and start over again on Monday. Looking forward to it. I hope you've had a great weekend. I know I have. This coming week is not quite as busy as last week, and I'm really kind of glad about that. I will have a couple of things to do Monday and Tuesday, but only 1 or 2 things a day, and then have my evenings free. And then this coming weekend, my husband and I will be volunteering in the 5K road race that our Family Life Center is sponsoring. I don't know what I'll be doing yet, but I won't be running. Now, my husband could if she needs him to pace anybody or, run along the route and make sure everybody's okay, because he had actually registered to run in the race before she asked if he could help be a volunteer. So we don't know what we'll be doing there yet. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow or Tuesday. I don't know if they're going to let us know ahead of time, but looking forward to it. I've never volunteered at a road race before. That's a new experience, and it'll be something fun my husband and I can do together, so we're looking forward to it. I look forward to talking to you next week. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dina, and I am back to give you a stitching report, a little bit of a life update, and a book review. So first, the stitching report. Yesterday, I started working on a prompt, and it was to stitch on a whip that had a method of human transportation, and I chose to do my By the Bay 13th colony because there's a sailboat in the picture, and I'll show that to you now so you can see that's what I'm talking about. And the other prompt I decided to go ahead and do this one for is to stitch on a project that has a house on it. Now, I've already stitched this one house. It's hard for you to see because it's dark red. There's another house up here that's dark red. That's also hard for you to see because it's a photograph. But trust me, there are houses in here. So, in the course of 2 days, I stitched the 2 prompts. And I needed about 300 stitches for each prompt. And I did that. And then I realized that the body of water I was stitching on was just fill-in. I had stitched all the white foam on the water that's supposed to be the white, I guess the white caps of the waves. And all I had left to do was just fill in. So this morning while I was talking to my sister, I just mindlessly filled in the cross stitch. And I wound up with a total of 1,045 stitches in this project for the 2 prompts. There you have it. Isn't that gorgeous? So now I can start working on the 2 houses that are right here on this side, right above the water. And then I can go over and finish. I have, see if I can get this where I can hold it with one hand. I have about this much to do to finish this page. It's just barely on the other side of the tree. And I've been concentrating on this side. So this part with the houses and the trees, and then this part will have just a little tiny stripe down here of what is the same thing as over here. Then I go to page 2, and that page 2 is the bottom half below those clouds. And then I'll have finished part 1 of 13th Colony. I love it. I won't do it this year. I would love it if I could finish at least this page by the end of the year. I think it would be a little aggressive to try to finish the entire picture by the end of the year, but I would like to finish at least a page, which would be great. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is a little bit of a life update. The first part of that is a picture that I'm going to put in for you. I play canasta with a group of ladies from my church as often as I can. Usually it's around every 2 to 3 weeks I get to play for a week. But for one day that week we play on Thursdays. And one of the ladies, we rotate who hosts it, you know, in their homes. And then one of the ladies who was actually hosting canasta in her home recently, I walked in the door and I saw some of the most beautiful what we call scissor fobs. They're flower frogs, I believe is what they were originally. Because that's the one I have was my mom's flower frog. And this lady had been collecting them for her collection for years. So I have a picture I'm going to insert, a little video. So forgive me if you can hear the ladies talking in the background. I was just so excited to get it. I didn't want to be rude and ask everybody to be quiet. I just wanted to grab it for you. There's some beautiful colors, and I just thought you might enjoy it because, you know, we love our scissor holders, and I just wanted to share that with you. So I'll put that in here. I'm at a friend's house playing canasta today, and I came in and saw this collection of her frogs, flower frogs. I told her that we store our scissors in them. The tall one in the back she got in London, England. She said on a vacation there and had it carted all the way home. Aren't they beautiful? I hope you enjoyed that. I told her why I was filming in her house, and she just thought that was the most amazing idea. She'd never thought about putting scissors in there. She's not a stitcher or doesn't sew or anything like that, so it hadn't occurred to her. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. The next thing I want to share with you is a book review, and since this will kind of wrap up this video, I will do it at the end. But before I do that, we have winners of my 6,500 subscriber celebration. Thank you all for participating. And what I'm going to do now is I'll insert a clip in here as I'm drawing the winners off my computer, and then I will come back as soon as that's over and do the book review for you. That way, if you don't want to do the book review, you can skip on through till you get to Coco. So she's at the end as usual. Okay, here we are in the random comment picker, and the first one that we're going to put in is Jingle Bells. Get comments. Okay, for Jingle Bells, the winner is Daydream Stitcher. Daydream Stitcher says, always lovely to hear from you, Dina. You have enabled me with that Seasons sampler. I don't usually stitch that style, but after Hurricane Ian here in Florida, those words feel perfect. I look forward to following your progress, and I will be buying it too soon. Jingle Bells is adorable. There you go. So Daydream Stitcher, Jingle Bells is coming to you. Please email me your mailing address. Thank you. Okay, we've loaded the comments for roses, and there are 26 of you who are interested in roses. We will pick a winner. Okay, Lori Cornies. Lori says, Coco's response to Mama and Daddy's return is priceless, and the friendship between Coco and Fred is so sweet. Your stitching is amazing. I'm trying to finish a Christmas stocking, almost done. It's the final one. I've stitched 6 of them in the past 3 years. This 7th one is taking me forever. Happy stitching. Roses. Lori, congratulations, you won roses. Please email me your mailing address. I will have my email in the drop-down box, of course. Now, let's go back up and change to the next word. I've changed the keyword to nativity. There's 35 that are interested in that. Christine Guzzoni. Hi Dina, congratulations on your 6,500 subscriber. You are by far my favorite floss tuber. How sweet, thank you. I can listen to you forever. Your voice is very calming to me. Thank you, and I love the nativity. Well, Christine, I'm so glad you do. So that pattern will be winging its way to you as soon as I get your mailing address. Please email it to me, and my email address, again, is in the drop-down box. Okay, last one here is Sophie. There were 21 interested in Sophie. Gayla Mason, you are the winner of Sophie. Great video, love seeing Coco. Love roses called Sophie. Well, you had 2 chances in there and you got it on the second one, so congratulations, Gayla. If you will email me your mailing address, I will get this out in the mail to you. Congratulations, you winners. Let's talk about what I've been reading. I just finished a book called Fear Thy Neighbor, and it was by Fern Michaels. I've read several of her books in the past, and I was looking on my library to see what they had in-house available that I didn't have to wait weeks and weeks for, because I had put holes on things that I was waiting on, and I wanted something to listen to in the meantime. And I recognized her name, and I didn't know anything about the book. I just knew I had read some of her books before. And I know she's written different genres, mysteries usually, but this was very, very different and somewhat predictable, but interesting nevertheless. The story is about a young woman named Allison, and Allison grew up in the foster care system. And the first part of the book, it talks about her. It goes back and forth between current and past. That style seems to be popular. But basically, if you look at it in chronological order, you find that Allison grew up in a foster care system. She does not know who her real parents are. And she wasn't placed in very good homes as far as caring people. They were usually in it for the money, and she was mistreated, and she learned a lot, and she learned how to survive, and she was able to escape that system, and she was able to finish high school. She actually ran away from her last foster home the night she graduated high school. She had run away from several, but you learn that throughout the book. But that's really not the big focus of the book, even though it seems to be mentioned a lot as far as just how her character is molded. You know, she doesn't trust people well. She's very defensive, apparently very pretty, very smart, but a little bit off the I guess, really not very technologically advanced because she doesn't have a cell phone, she doesn't have a computer, she doesn't have any of that stuff. She's never been afforded that. And when she ran away, she was off the grid. She wanted to be off the grid. She didn't want to be found. And so we meet Allison with her in about 26 years old. She's an adult woman now. She has worked really hard since she graduated high school. She saved every dime she made. She's met a really good investor, and now she's doing well. And she has means. She's not filthy rich, but she has means. And now she has decided that she wants to fulfill a childhood dream of hers to own her own home, because she never felt that she had her own home at any point in her life before. So Allison is traveling, heading to Key West, and never quite gets there. Along the way, she runs upon an island that they're calling Palmetto Island, and she falls in love with it. And it is just a very small, sweet community. At least it appears that way in the beginning. And she winds up making some very dear friends very quickly, and in some unconventional ways. She rescues a mama cat and 2 kittens from a filling station parking lot that are apparently very hungry, and she's afraid they've been abandoned or that it's a feral cat, but it has a flea collar on it. So she takes the mama and the 2 babies and feeds them and babysits them. And one day she's going into the Dollar General store to buy them cat food, and there's a missing poster plastered up against the cash register, missing the mama cat and 2 cats. And turns out the lady who works there owns the cats, and they got out of her car at the filling station, and it was dark and she couldn't find them. And she was afraid they had run away, and she was looking for them. So Allison's first big friend is Tammy, the lady who works at the dollar store, because she returns the mama cat and the kittens to her, and they become trusting friends from that point on, and they wind up helping each other a great deal. The story takes some interesting turns. Everyone Allison meets is not nice, and what she winds up discovering accidentally is that there's a bad history in this area of young girls going missing. And in fact, one skeleton had been discovered in the past, and so they know that at least one of the missing girls was murdered or died somehow, and she's never been identified. They've had her body for years and years and years at the morgue, and they don't know what to do. So Allison's first couple of weeks there in this place, this book takes place in a very short period of time. She meets these people, she learns who she can trust and who she can't, and she learns she has a really good gut about that. And she really does kind of stumble into the solution to the mystery. And her life is in danger when this happens, and she is able to fight her way out with the help of her friends, and it has a very happy ending. So it's a great book as far as a positive read. There are there's these shadows of sadness, like her childhood that was so unfulfilled, and some of the danger that she made it through. And then there were some twists and turns along the way as she's meeting people that, you don't know who the bad guys are and who the good guys are in the beginning. You have to learn them when she does. But it's not a very long book. I had it on audiobook, and I think it was 9 hours on audiobook. So it took me, several days to hear it, because I only listen to it when I stitch, and I enjoyed it. And, I thought it was a good book as far as just, an entertaining story. If I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, I would probably give it about 3.5. And the reason I say that is that in the course of the book, as the author is telling us about what's going on, I actually said out loud, oh, that person's going to wind up being this. And in another place, it was like, that person's going to wind up being this, you know, or have this impact on the story. And I was absolutely correct. So I think that's why I said it was a little bit predictable. Because you could kind of, the foreshadowing was so strong, you could kind of figure out some things about the characters and the plot that was going to happen. And of course, there's a love interest that appears in the story, and you know that right away, that there's going to be a relationship there. That doesn't take long at all to figure out. And so a little bit predictable, but not a bad read. So there's my, for what it's worth, review. Anyway, okay, so that's my book review, and now I just want to set up the little video that you're going to see from Coco. We have a cul-de-sac right down below our house. We have about, I think, 1 or 2 houses between us and the circle. So we walk down there quite often because right in the middle of the circle there is a pie-shaped lot that is on a point of the lake. So it's an empty lot, and it's got a tree line all around the edge, and past that tree line is the bank, and it drops very steeply off into the lake. I don't know who owns the lot. Somebody has bought it in the past, and they're hanging on to it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful lot. But the Corps of Engineers owns some of the, I guess, the edge of the lake, because they want to maintain the lake. And so you can't, if you buy the lot, you could not put a dock on it. You couldn't do anything. So that's another reason it's still vacant, because I don't think you really have the freedom you would want to if you paid the top dollar you're going to have to pay to get that lot that's a lake lot on a point, which means it has lake surface, you know, around the whole edge of the lot. So we love it because it's mowed frequently. It's kept down. The weeds are kept mowed. And so it's a great little field for Coco to run and play. And she does enjoy it a lot. So it gives Tommy a place to take her and throw her tennis balls really hard and let her run a long way and grab them. He's trying to teach her fetch, which he's trying to teach her that fetch means get the ball and bring it all the way back to me. He's taught her to run for the ball and catch it. And then he's taught her to drop it so that she can catch the next one. Now he's trying to teach her to bring it all the way back. So that's a work in progress, as you may see. So we have her in the field playing, and I tried to capture as much as I could, but because she runs so fast, I had to stand a little bit back so you could see her, because she runs out of the camera so quickly. So please forgive me for having to move the camera around to keep her in range a few times, but I hope that you will enjoy seeing Coco as she's playing fetch with her daddy. In the meantime, everybody, until next time, I hope that you have a great month of stitching, and I can't wait to come back and share with you what I get accomplished by the end of the month. Happy stitching, everyone.
Drop. All the way, drop.
Is she going home?